The Baltimore Ravens team owner, Steve Bisciotti, held his annual State of the Ravens press conference on Friday, February 2nd. However, unlike in recent years, this one was a little bit different. For starters, Bisciotti was alone. In previous years, team president DeCosta, general manager Ozzie Newsome and head coach John Harbaugh joined Bisciotti on stage. In addition, this press conference may have been one of the more tense and anticipated press conferences in Ravens history. Interestingly enough, during the press conference, Bisciotti joked that this may have been the most important speech since his valedictorian speech in 1982. Bisciotti opened up his press conference explaining why he delayed the press conference and the reasoning as to why Cass, Harbaugh and Newsome were not there. In reference to why they waited a month to do this press conference, Bisciotti said, "I wanted to and I needed it." He added, "It just made sense. I just said I would rather do it afterwards." As for why Bisciotti was alone, he said that he figured most of the questions would be for him. Bisciotti said, "I knew most of the questions would be for me. It is kind of uncomfortable to sit there and watch someone else yap for 30 minutes. He added, "I will twist Ozzie's arm and get him in front of you at some time before the draft meeting that you never learn anything from anyway." The first question was about if firing John Harbaugh and to a lesser degree Ozzie Newsome was the thought. In regards to Harbaugh, Bisciotti said, "Certainly it was thought. I was proud of the way John kept fighting and held the team together when we were losing in the middle of the year." He added, "It was certainly a consideration but not one I was inclined to make." As for the biggest announcement of the press conference, Bisciotti stated that Ozzie Newsome will be stepping down following the 2018 season and DeCosta will be the new general manager. It is worth noting, Newsome will still be with the team in some capacity. Bisciotti joked and said, "He'll be the highest paid scout in America when Eric takes over next year." There were several questions about attendance. He said, "It's still a concern. There's a lot of things to deal with. The one we can change right away is the experience and we're constantly working on that." Bisciotti added, "Winning is key." Bisciotti seemed to believe the lack of success was the reason for poor attendance at games. As of late, when asked about Joe Flacco and his future, Bisciotti said they had bigger fish to fry. He said, "You can think about life after Joe, but I don't know about any franchise quarterbacks that are retiring at 33, 34 or 35 anymore." He cited Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees. Bisciotti added, "That's not something we are worried about right now." When asked about the draft, Bisciotti said, "There's a really good chance we won't take a defensive tackle in the first round." In his response, Bisciotti discussed that Mike Wallace was coming off of a good season, Rashad Perriman was healthy, adding Danny Woodhead and Jeremy Maclin, in order to drive home the point that the offensive needs weren't as pressing last year as they are this year. He ended his response with, "We will be exploring all options in free agency and the draft in order to get Flacco weapons." Bisciotti was asked about the draft misses. He said, "It costs you. It is significant. We spent a lot of time in Jupiter talking about that and we've come up with a couple of things that we think are constructive." He cited later round success, but did state they must improve in earlier rounds. Later, Bisciotti discussed how significant the loss of senior scouts really was. Bisciotti noted that those losses are indicative of success. However, he said, "We don't play the carousel game with the Ravens. Since Ozzie came in here, he has brought in young people and developed them over many years to become really good scouts. We lost those scouts. We didn't necessarily go out and hire equal scouts to replace them and I think that was a mistake." Continuing with that point, Bisciotti added, "I think that it shows that we have not done a very good job of filling in senior people with senior people. That is something we are going to address starting right now and hopefully rebuild that on the fly because we can't wait for 25-year-olds to get as good as Joe Douglas was at 36. In addition, Bisciotti discussed that recent draft woes could be attested to be getting too many opinions about the top players in the draft. He added, "I think they have been overanalyzed." In response to retaining Marty Mornhinweg, Bisciotti said, "We have gone through 4 offensive coordinators in the last 5 years. Joe was comfortable with his relationship with Marty and when John wanted to keep him, I backed him." The second biggest statement from this press conference was when Steve Bisciotti said, "I am not going to give a playoff or bust edict to you all or to my coach." He added, "I may as well replace him now if I am going to tell him make the playoffs or you're out of town next year. That's not the way to run a business." When asked about Dean Pease joining the Titans staff, Bisciotti did cite the team does have a nepotism rule that may have prohibited that from happening. In addition, he added, "I wish Dean all the luck. He got his son in. I'm happy for him. I'm a little shocked. He's 68 years old, I guess. He's obviously well respected in the league. Later in the press conference, Steve Bisciotti declared that they are disappointed, embarrassed and determined but certainly not stagnant. He added, "I'm here for the foreseeable future." Quotes were obtained from BaltimoreRavens.com's live stream of the